Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something huge happening in the Cardano ecosystem, and it comes from Indigo Protocol. They're basically trying to bring the world's biggest markets right on-chain, and we're going to break down exactly how they plan to do it.
So, let's just start with the really big question. What if you could get exposure to things like the euro or gold without ever having to leave the blockchain? Seriously, just picture it. All the power of global finance right there in your digital wallet. That's the crazy ambitious vision we're going to unpack today.
All right, here's the game plan. We'll kick things off with what Indigo is all about, then we'll get into its wild new engine, see what that unlocks, starting with Forex and commodities, and then we'll look at the massive ripple effect this could have for all of Cardano.
Okay, let's start at the beginning and get a handle on what Indigo Protocol actually does. Because before we can talk about the future, we really need to understand the foundation they've already built.
So, the whole system is built on these things called iAssets. The easiest way to think about them is like digital twins. They're tokens that live on the Cardano blockchain, and their whole job is to perfectly mirror the price of a real-world asset. And the way you create them is by locking up collateral that's worth more than the iAsset you want. That's what over-collateralized means, and it's a super important safety feature.
As of right now, you can use Indigo to mint synthetic versions of other big-name crypto assets. This means you can get exposure to Bitcoin or Ethereum, for instance, but do it all within the Cardano DeFi ecosystem. It's all about building these useful bridges inside one network.
And listen, this is no small-time experiment. The protocol is already securing over $10 million in what's called Total Value Locked, or TVL. That tells you that users trust this thing enough to put some serious capital into it, making it a real heavyweight in Cardano's DeFi space.
But you know, that brings up the million-dollar question. How do you go from just a few crypto assets to maybe hundreds of real-world assets? How do you pay for that kind of growth and keep everything secure without constantly needing outside money? Well, that is the exact problem the V3 upgrade was built to solve.
So, how is Indigo tackling this huge challenge? Their answer is pretty brilliant, actually. They've totally redesigned their economic engine for the V3 upgrade, and the whole point is to make it completely self-sustaining.
You see, this is a major shift in how DeFi projects usually work. A lot of the time, the old model involved burning through project funds or printing new tokens to grow, which, can't last forever. The V3 model is totally different. It uses the revenue the protocol is already making from interest fees to pay for its own expansion.
And this creates this amazing self-powering cycle, a flywheel, as they call it. Just follow me here. Users create assets, which makes revenue. That revenue then pays for things like the secure data needed to add new assets. Those new assets pull in more users, who then generate even more revenue. And boom, the flywheel just spins faster and faster on its own. So the key thing to get here is that this new engine isn't just about growth for the sake of growth. It's about smart growth. It lets the protocol expand almost, limitlessly, without ever giving up the core ideas of decentralization and security that make Cardano what it is.
And they're adding more fuel to this fire by making things more flexible. With V3, you'll be able to use a much wider variety of collateral to mint your iAssets, things like wrapped Bitcoin and different stablecoins. More options just mean more users and more activity, which is exactly what you want.
Okay, so you've built this incredibly powerful, self-funding engine. It's all revved up and ready to go. Where do you point it first? Well, you aim it straight at the biggest financial market on the entire planet.
And I mean, the scale here is just staggering. The foreign exchange, or Forex market, sees about $7.5 trillion traded every single day. If you could bring just a tiny, tiny sliver of that onto the blockchain, it would be a complete game changer for Cardano DeFi. So the plan is simple, but it's powerful. Create synthetic iAssets for the world's most traded currencies. We're talking the euro, the yen, the pound, you name it. It's literally building a bridge from the world of traditional finance right into the decentralized world of Cardano.
And this isn't just some abstract financial tool. It has real-world impact. For someone in an emerging market with a shaky local currency, this is revolutionary. It means they can, without asking permission, store their savings in a more stable asset like the Swiss franc, or hedge their business risks, all from their phone. It's a huge deal.
Right, so after you've taken on the entire world of currencies, where do you go next? The logical move is another massive class of real-world assets, commodities.
Yep, we're talking about making synthetic versions of things that are just fundamental to how our global economy works. Gold, silver, and yeah, even crude oil.
These are assets people have been trading for literally centuries, and now they're coming to the blockchain.
And the thinking behind this is crystal clear. These assets are classic hedges against inflation, they help you diversify your portfolio, and maybe most importantly, they're a familiar on-ramp for people from traditional finance who are crypto-curious but feel more comfortable with assets they already get.
All right, so let's zoom all the way out and look at the whole shebang. What does all of this, the self-sustaining engine, the Forex markets, the commodities, what does it all really mean for Cardano? What is this limitless impact we're talking about?
Well, it's that flywheel we talked about, but now kicking into overdrive for the entire ecosystem. Because more useful assets bring in more users. That leads to more value and revenue for the protocol, which in turn creates more stability and liquidity for everyone. It's a wave of positive momentum that lifts all boats in Cardano DeFi.
And at the end of the day, this isn't just about adding a few new trading pairs. It's about a much bigger vision. A vision to tokenize, well, everything. It's a foundational piece for a future where basically any real-world asset can be traded right here on-chain.
So if you only remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. This is all about democratization. It's about tearing down old barriers and giving way more people direct access to global financial markets, creating real, tangible utility right on the Cardano blockchain.
You see, this V3 upgrade isn't really a finish line. It's a launch pad, and it leaves us with a pretty mind-bending question to chew on. Once you can trade everything from the euro to a barrel of oil on the blockchain, what on earth becomes possible next?